Hello and welcome everybody, and thanks for attending the meeting. We've got a interesting panel here today who are going to talk you through all things volunteering. We did, and I need to give a shout out to Kirsty, who's stepped in at the last minute. Bless you, Kirsty. We did have Steve Rolls, who's absolutely excellent. Of course, Kirsty's equally excellent, but Steve had an emergency that happened at the last minute, which is, of course, unheard of in FM. But we've managed to get Kirsty on board, who's going to talk us through the region. So thank you for that. The format here is very simple. What we're going to do is allow each of them to just tell you what their various communities do. We're going to have chat from regions, which will be Kirsty, networks, Christy Smith, and we're also going to have Gordon Mitchell joining us a little bit later to talk through SIGs. If you've got any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat. There are no silly questions. If you don't know the answer, just ask. That's what we're here for. And hopefully this will be an involving and also informative meeting where you can work out whether volunteering is right for you and something you'd like to get involved in. So without further ado, as Kirsty is on a timer, I'm going to ask Kirsty to just give a quick sort of up to 10-minute overview on what it is that regions do and what volunteering means to her. Kirsty, over to you. Can't hear you, Kirsty. You're off mute, but I still can't hear you. Robin, apparently Gordon's pending approval as well, so he's trying to get in. But while Kirsty sorts that out, how about if we move over to Christy? It's always a good thing to get a quick hiccup at the start. Kirsty, I'll give you 10 minutes to sort that out. Christy, would you like to take over and talk about networks, please?
Yeah, of course. Can you hear me okay?
Perfectly. Thank you.
Great. I'm in the office, so hopefully it won't be too loud for everyone, so apologies. But yeah, my name's Christy. I work at Integrated Estate Management as Head of Business Excellence. And I've recently been appointed to the chair of Women in FM. So it's quite a new thing for me. So the volunteering in general is quite new actually for me. So it's been a really, really great experience up until now. So the Women in FM is a network. As Ian alluded to, there's a couple of different groups. You've got the special interest groups and networks. The network is more focused around group of people rather than a special interests such as like technology or AI or the many different ones that there are. So we're here to support women. As I say, it's very new. I started January, I think it was, Ian, was it January? Yes, so it's been a couple of months now. But it's been really great so far. So what am I involved in? It's well, and also who else is involved. It's really anyone that's passionate about supporting women in the industry, just because of the gender gap that there is. IWFM stats show that the 22% of members is women, so it's quite low. So our aim is to get that up and make sure that there's plenty of us in the industry. It's also not just focusing on the attraction to the industry, but also retaining and supporting women with progression. So there's a little bit around how we're doing that, training, skills sessions, action learning sets, lots of different ways that we can support and develop, mentoring, which IWFM also offer. So yeah, there's a lot going on within the Women in FM at the moment. What you would expect if you were to join us as a volunteer. So I know all the groups do everything very differently. We have a monthly meeting at the moment, so we hope we've been booking them in advance, so we hope that as many people can join them as possible. So we have a monthly meeting. We've agreed that we'll do a 6 monthly one in person. So as a volunteer, you would obviously need to be on the calls, as many as you can, I should say. And then, yeah, the 6 monthly one in person. If it was the Women in FM, I know everyone does things slightly differently. So I'm sure there's other networks that will have, that'll be quite a little bit more varied. But yeah, as part of the committee, we also are giving people ownership of something. So you have kind of that accountability and something motivating you and something that you're interested in. So we have quite a few people that are, their skill set is training and they really love doing that. So they're focusing on how they can support women in the industry with training. We have others where we're looking at founding partners and sponsorship. So there's so many different parts to it that you can get involved in. We also have people within our committee volunteering that collaborate with the different SIGs and the different regions. So Valerie, our events coordinator, she is meeting with the Midlands region, I think, next week. So there's lots of opportunity to collaborate. We've got lots of plans for road shows and getting data and doing surveys and things like that. So there's so many different aspects that you can get involved in. The benefits. So it's a great way, I've found, to expand your network and meet new people across the industry. It's been brilliant working with all of the newly formed committee and getting to know one another. And you know, even things out of work now, you've got contact as out of work, out of the IWFM committee, you've got contacts that are kind of becoming friends, and it's really great. And you wouldn't usually cross paths with a lot of these people. They're in completely different areas and completely different businesses, so that's really, really great. It opens up opportunities both personally and professionally. So since I've been chairing Women in FM, I have had the opportunity to be in some magazine articles, go on some panels, not things that I would usually get involved in, but it has really pushed me to do those, which has been really, really great. And also that means that you're getting your voice out there. And I think that's what matters the most, really, is actually, if you want to make a difference, this is how you do it. You've got so many opportunities to do things and be heard. It is fantastic. It builds confidence. So the panels and things like that. I remember Ian having a conversation with you. I can't do it. And yeah, it does really build confidence and around speaking, influencing, sharing ideas. There's so many things. Yeah, that it can help with. I don't know if I've covered everything. I'm trying to think about everything.
I think you've covered it well there.
Yeah,
I think you really have. I mean, that's perfect.
Yeah, I think for me, it really has just mostly it's the building contacts and making the difference. I didn't realize the difference that I could make until I joined this and the opportunities that have arisen from it. So it really has been great. And you also, all these things that I kind of felt like maybe I was keeping internally and actually there's so many other people that think the same and are having the same challenges, and so it really brings everyone together. So I think volunteering, if you've got the time, it can be it dependent on, I guess, the network and what you're doing it for, it can be time consuming at times. So if we're doing an event, then it can be like, you know, a weekly meeting up until the event whilst you're planning for it, things like that. So just take into account that it does need a little bit of time. It's not that you put your name against it and that's that. The whole point is to get involved. But there is a lot of benefits to doing it that I found anyway.
Thank you, Christy.
My pleasure.
Excellent. Now, Kirsty, have you managed to solve your gremlins? Because we'd love to hear from you about regions.
I think so. Can you hear me?
Perfectly. Well done. Yeah.
We got there. Okay, so so I sit on the committee for IWFM Midlands region, and we really support, connect and develop facilities management with across the region. So what that entails is a variety of different events. So we will do some, we tend to do a event on a monthly basis. And that could be a variety of CPD events, involving workshops, seminars, leadership events, or webinars that all can go towards IWFM qualifications and professional recognition. In terms of the reasons, that I do it, so personally, I started FM as a receptionist and kind of fell into the industry and then grew from there and was given the opportunities to go out and do the development in terms of a degree and everything else that I needed to do. And that gave me that kind of foundation to do it. One of the other committee members that sits on our committee is also a rising star. So as Christy said, there is very close links to the different SIGs or different groups within IWFM that we can really pull on. And one of the main things that we are really passionate about is engagement and growing FM as a career of choice. And that's something why really I got an involvement in it. And it was after going to one of the previous women in FM events that really kind of lit my passion and wanted me to be involved. I am the regional director for Kindred across and look after the Midlands region. But just because my background currently the position I sit in is soft services, that doesn't then mean it still allows me to get involved with different activities, different CPD events that involve both hard and soft services. So it enables me to really be able to have that involvement, grow my network. And Christy's right, they do say that cheesy saying is your network is your net worth. And that's really true. When I've previously gone through different stages of my career, being able to reach out to different people, have conversations, grow the network, and be able to build on that. Also by building, long-term friends, but also different suppliers that you may be able to see. So, for me, it is really valued piece of work. It does take time, and you need to be able to put the investment in. You can't just come on and then put it on your CV that you're part of the committee, because for you to get something out of it, you need to add value. So if you have the time or you have the passion to do it, then I would really encourage you to reach out and get involved in it and visit one of the events or visit some of the events and just see which one you feel would be suitable for you to join. Okay. Hopefully that was all right, Ian.
I should unmute myself before I start.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Yeah, I'm doing it. No, that was fantastic. And thank you again for jumping in at such short notice.
Not a problem.
A lot of people will relate to one thing you said there, because I think if I had £1 for every time somebody said I fell into FM, I'd probably be quite a rich person by now. And it is developing that career of choice that, the network SIGs and the regions do so well that is fundamental. We've got a skills gap in the industry, and we can help to actually try and bridge that. So thank you, Kirsty. And I do realize you're on a timer, so I know you've got to drop off in a little bit, but thanks very much indeed.
No problem.
And last, but by no means least, we have Gordon Mitchell, who is the chair of our Tech SIG and is also deputy chair of Members Council. Gordon, would you like to give an overview of what it is that SIGs do and what volunteering means to you, please?
No problem. Nice to see or be in the room with you all. So, as Ian said, I'm Gordon Mitchell, chair of the Technology Special Interest Group, also on that members council role, and I recently became a fellow with the institute. So I've had quite a long time, to be honest, as a member initially. then started to, I guess, want to give back a little bit more. So I would say, it's not for everyone to start contributing. Depends where you're at in your own career and what your objectives are. But I certainly spent the formative. I didn't really fall into FM, to be fair. My father was a chair of BIFM when it was called BIFM, so I was I was doing asset surveying at 14, living the dream. So yeah, it kind of was much more part of my, I guess, journey to take, and therefore when I was early on that journey, I was more of a recipient of the value of the institute, I guess. There's lots of webinars, there's lots of collateral, good practice guides. FM, in essence, as we all know, is a broad church. It's a complex kind of horizontal discipline with many moving parts, and you don't know what you don't know. So there's professional standards framework, there's a learning environment. All of these things help democratize what you need to understand to become good at your craft. As time went on, then I started getting involved in things and wanting to, grow this community. And for the last 5 years, I think now I've been chair of the technology SIG. I chaired the AI kind of initiative we had. We had three digital initiatives that then converged into technology. So for the last 7 years, I guess I've probably been in some sort of digital leadership capacity. The technology special interest group deals with surprise, surprise, technology, but I would say it's more digital data and technology in terms of our scope. We've done a lot of work with information management recently, which isn't technology per se. I authored the Information Management Good Practice Guide that the Institute released not very long ago. Um, so in that regard, although it's called technology, it's about what we focus on is about how to use the technology, how to operationalize it, how to, in essence, know what you even need to procure technologically. Just because it can do something, is it what you need it to do? So a lot of the rigor, the structure, the operating model, necessities, digital literacy. So we try and sort of break down the barriers to technological return of investment in essence, and that's a lot of our focus. We're really passionate about working with our other colleagues. So whether it's regions, whether it's networks, whether it's other SIGs, tech and digital is everywhere, as we all know, probably in all our pockets as we sit here right now, as well as what's in front of us. So again, it's what does that mean to procurement? Maybe something different. Christy said earlier on about the kind of demographic profile of, our craft. What does it mean to help those type of things as well? Technology can be very diverse in how we can leverage it, particularly now with the whole rise of artificial intelligence. But again, just because you can use something, should you? We know how much water artificial intelligence is consuming. So do you use that where you could still use Google search? Although Google's added AI to their Google search now as well, so that kind of undermines that point. But a lot of the time it's again just informing our people. It's difficult to have a solution for every single permutation that's out there. So it's a lot about the methodology for how one should approach something, so then you can act without needing somebody on your shoulder. Um, but it is complex. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm doing a lot of work in the public sector at the moment, and particularly at scale, things are difficult in our world. There's risk everywhere, compliance requirements, and people wanting, more for less, typically. So digital transformation, change management's a big part of what we do. But I guess as as we start to look at, beyond what the scope of the SIG is, then it's about that interoperable world of ours. You know, facility management doesn't stand alone, so we need to try and move together. So some of my roles have led me to working with the Cabinet Office, as I am right now. I'm currently convener for international standards around digital data and technology, where I write standards for about, at the moment, 88% of the world's GDP. Vice chair with NEMA, the National Information Management Association, where we've got the Construction Leadership Council's remit to digitise the sector. And these are all things that, you know, lead you to not only having that exposure, you know, getting to work with really cool projects and people, but influence the future. You know, these are things that are really required, help everybody, but they're still done by people. So, you know, you want the best people around the table to collaborate, to teach, to learn, to co-design. So that's, you know, in a place like IWFM, we're trying to grow that presence, grow, you know, facility management in an information management capacity. That operational phase counts for 72% of the value life cycle return. So we're over double everybody else combined. And we don't have that anything like that representation around the table in these places that are making these decisions. And we should. So that's a big drive and a massive passion of mine within the Institute, is getting ourselves around those tables, being able to influence. We all know what a bad handover looks like. You know, we all know that operational outcomes aren't designed in, but at the same point in time, the people making these decisions don't know our world. So that's a big part of the Institute, is we as a community can start to have a louder voice than any one of us can on our own. And then, you know, you've got things like our main in-person event in June 16th, 2 months. That's again another opportunity to uh, meet people. You know, again, if anyone's going to the workplace event in Birmingham end of this month, come and say hi. I'll be there on a couple of days. I'll be at the other event. This is about growing our collectiveness, our increasing our value proposition, and being able to help, you know, tell the story. I think a lot of the time with facility management, we don't do a good job of expressing ourselves, and that's another thing the Institute's trying to get. Um, like Chrissy said earlier on, data. You know, what does work, what doesn't work, what's difficult, where are the barriers, how do we get the solutions? So, you know, if we're all trying to reinvent the wheel in isolation, then we're diluting our abilities to drive this forward. So yeah, there's lots going on. I've never seen so much activity in facility management, but we want it to be inclusive. We want it to be just. We want it to land for all, and that's where we need community, and that's what the Institute affords. Try to save everyone from rabbiting on Ian.
Gordon Mitchell, rabbit on. I've never heard it. I've never heard it at all. No, thank you, Gordon, and insightful as ever, as all of the speakers were. Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. Does anyone have questions? I can't see any questions in the chat. Please feel free. I mean, Robin, if you want to unmute people so that they can ask directly or they can type into the chat, more than happy to do so. What will happen, just to give everyone an overview, I will send a copy of this out to all the people that registered, so you can have a look through it and view it again, because obviously you need to make sure that volunteering is for you. As the volunteer partnership manager for IWFM, that's something that obviously I want to make sure it works for the communities that I support, and all those things that are so important. On the flip side, we've got to make sure it's right for you as well, so that everyone gets the best out of it, because it is, you know, Christy mentioned it about, you know, challenging yourself. Kirsty made the point about making those connections as well. You know, that's so important. And Gordon rather brilliantly put the point as well, that amplify our voice, because we are. When I started back in 2024, yeah, that long ago, it didn't take me long. I do happen to be a cricket fan, and I started to think of FM as a little bit like the wicketkeeper in a cricket team. When they do a good job, nobody really notices them. It's only when they don't do a good job that sometimes everyone's screaming about it. And we need to be able to amplify that so that people notice that wicketkeeper on a day-to-day basis and realize the importance they have to their businesses. Because without that, the businesses don't work as well. It's a fundamental principle of whatever your business is, you need good FM. So please have a think about joining. I will send out an expression of interest form to everybody. So feel free to just fill that in. If you want to have a chat with me, one-to-one, more than happy to do so. You can all unmute yourselves. So if you do want to ask a question, just please feel free to do so. If not, I'm going to give some people some time back, because these guys, like yourselves, are obviously very busy people. One last call out. Any questions at all that you'd like to put to the team here? I'm going to take that silence as a no, unless somebody wants to speak. We have a question. Yes, the answer to that is actually yes. Can volunteers put themselves forward for specific areas, or do they tend to support multiple areas within the organisation? There's one I can answer. You can put yourself forward for, the regions tend to, as Chris said, deal with their regional areas. So if that's an interest to you, that's fine. If you have a specific interest, like Gordon does it on the SIGs with tech, that specialist knowledge, put yourselves forward for, we've got procurement, sustainability, we've got a whole load of people. So yes, you can go down a specialist route, or again, as Christy quite rightly pointed out, networks tend to work for people. So Women in FM, we've got a veterans network that works with ex-service people. So it's really finding where you feel you can add the most value and get the most value back, and we'll try and support you to be involved in that. We have another question. I like this. I like questions. I live in the East Midlands. Are these regionalised? Simon, if you reach out to me at ian.christopher@iwfm.org.uk, I can work out actually where you live and tell you which region you would be in by your home postcode or by your work location, depending on which you would prefer. They are regionalised. We've got an East region, which covers part of the Midlands, and we've got a Midlands region, which is sort of Birmingham up to Midlands and across. So you, depending on exactly where you are, feel free to reach out to me. I'll just type my email in the chat there so that everyone's got it in case you want it. iwfm.org.uk. So any questions, fire that over to me and I'll be more than happy to do it. We've got a couple of questions. Any more? Maxine's come up with, I do like this. This is good. I'd like to join the Women's Network, but as I manage our the CAFM and I am the system administrator for a large NHS trust, I'd also like to join the Tech Network. If you've got the time, Melanie, I'm sure both of them would be welcome to have a chat with you about it. I will. Gordon's given the thumbs up there. Definitely. Christie's team are quite full, I do have to tell you that, but we're always interested in good people. I will look out for the EOI form, Melanie, fill it in, complete it as much as you possibly can, and I'm more than happy to put you across to Gordon and to Christy, and you can have a chat. Some people, Anna Williamson, who's on the next one, is a member of Strategic Leaders Forum. She's a member of a sustainability SIG, and she's also going to be chairing the education network that we're reinvigorating. So you can be on more than one.
Anna's also actually on ours, if you don't mind me just jumping in, Ian. But also, I was going to say, it works really it actually works quite well because Anna's interest is in the educational sector, and I think she's creating her own scene, isn't she, around that. It's like she's now kind of that dedicated person between the Women in FM and that. So I think it can actually work quite well if you have more than one interest, and want and have the time to commit to both, I should say, really. So yeah, it does. I think that can work quite well sometimes, because you then kind of have that person that's like, within the Women in FM, we're like, okay, anything educational, we're like, Anna's there. So yeah.
Yeah, no, really good point. And I do apologise, Christy, I did forget that. You're quite right. And there's an important...
Anna's deputy chair as well, incidentally.
She is, yes, she is.
I don't know how she fits it all in.
Okay. Both of you have pointed out I've made a glaring error on how much Anna gets involved, and you are both of you absolutely right. Hi, are there opportunities for those of us in the Northeast, Sunderland, Newcastle? Yes, there are. We have a North Region committee. SIGs and networks do not operate on a regional basis. They are specialists that look after a group of people or a special interest, so they are location agnostic. So yes, there are. Again, look out for that EOI form, fill it out as fully as you possibly can, and I'll steer you in the right way. And if you need a conversation, more than happy. You're welcome, Melanie. That's fine. Anyone interested in TEG Digital? That's Gordon. It's Gordon plumbing. Yeah, good. Wales region and armed forces are a particular interest to me. My form's been sent in. Right. I will double check and look for that and make sure that you are in front of Sarah Jowett, who is the chair of Wales, and I think I've sent it across to her actually, Kim, because I remember your name. I know Sarah has been up to her ears in lambing lately, and I will also. I'm talking to Louisa, who's the chair of veterans, so I'll push that for you again, and feel free to keep harassing me, Kenwyn. Okay, do feel free, and I'll keep pushing it for you. So I think I'm in Ireland. Yes, we do, Celine. There is a vibrant Ireland committee. Again, I'll say it. Look out for that EOI form. I can put you in touch with Terry and Barry, who are the chair and deputy chair, respectively. They're always looking out for really good people. So yes, Ireland is, they tend to operate across, so it's not, we don't have a Northern Ireland, we do technically kind of have a Northern Ireland and a Southern Ireland. They tend to operate across the border, so to promote the whole of Ireland and see how that works. So please do get involved, and I'll send out an EOI form for everybody. But definitely we do have an Ireland committee. Any other questions? And thank you all for the questions you've put in. It really is appreciated. But if there's any more questions, feel free to speak up or to type in. Excellent, Andrew. I look forward to talking to you. And if there isn't anything else, I'm going to give you 25 minutes of your time back. I would just like to say, I know Kirsty's dropped off because she had to. Thanks to Christy, sorry. No, thanks to Kirsty. Kirsty and a Christy, I'm having a terrible time here. Thanks to Kirsty for coming in and stepping in at such short notice. It was appreciated. Christy, appreciate all that you've put in. And Gordon, as always, a pleasure to have you on. And thank you for your insights. Any questions, my email is in the chat. Feel free to ask. And I will be sending this recording out with an EOI form to everybody. Thanks again. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Thanks very much.
Take care.
Bye. 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 Bye.